The biggest single factor in your life today is the element of change, affecting everything you do and accelerating week by week and month by month. This is something over which you have no control and about which you have no choice. The only thing you have to decide is whether or not you are going to be a master of change or a victim of change. Are you going to be a creator of circumstances or a creature of circumstances? Remember, you are always free to choose. The only limits on what you can do, have, and be are the limits that you accept on your abilities and your own potential. By learning how to think big about yourself and your future, you will learn how to take firm control over the direction of your life and accomplish more in the next few years than most people might accomplish in a lifetime. Now, let me tell you a little bit about my own background. I left high school without graduating back in the 60s. I traveled and worked at laboring jobs for a few years before I stumbled into sales. In sales, I spun my wheels for many months until I finally had a breakthrough that changed my life. The big breakthrough for me was when I suddenly realized that all the top salespeople around me seemed to have selling skills that enabled them to prospect, present, follow up, and close sales far faster and easier than me. So I went to one of the top salespeople and I asked him what he was doing differently that enabled him to make so many sales and earn so much money. And he told me. When I began following some of the advice he gave me, prospects reacted to me differently, and my sales started to go up. I began asking other top salespeople for advice, and I began following it. And my sales went up even further. I read books on selling in the morning and then tried out the new ideas during the day. I listened to audio programs in my car and carried an audio cassette player around with me between calls. I began going to sales training seminars and taking careful notes. And each time, my sales increased. Soon, I was one of the top salespeople, and I learned this amazingly important lesson. You can learn anything you need to learn to accomplish any goal you can set for yourself. With this idea in mind, I changed jobs and changed industries. I got into real estate sales and leasing, and then into real estate development. Then I got into importation and distribution, and then banking, printing, advertising, consulting, and eventually training and speaking. Every time I got into a new field, I went out and learned everything I possibly could about that field and applied it as fast as I could. At first, I checked out all the books from the local library. Then I bought my own books and built my own library. I listened to every audio cassette and attended every seminar. In my 30s, I went back and took a business degree at the university so I could understand microeconomic theory, statistics, probability, management science, and accounting. I studied marketing, management, administration, and strategic planning. I became addicted to the concept of learning. It changed my life. But the most astonishing thing was that when I looked around me, I noticed that very few other people were doing what I was doing. Most people, by their own admissions, were living lives of quiet desperation. They were working at jobs they didn't particularly like, earning salaries far below their potentials, staying in relationships they didn't enjoy, and living lives that gave them no great satisfaction. I know, just like you, that everything happens for a reason. If you can find the reasons why other people succeed in any field, and you do the same things, you can get the same results if you stick to it long enough and work hard enough. When I found that the people around me didn't seem to be interested in changing their situations, I began looking for the reasons underlying their behavior, and I found them. Many years have gone into researching the psychology of success and the psychology of failure, and most of the studies conclude that there are two major mental blocks that hold people back. The first is what Dr. Martin Seligman of the University of Pennsylvania has called learned helplessness. According to his research, this attitude afflicts fully 80% of the population, perhaps more. People feel helpless. People feel overwhelmed by so many things going on around them. They feel that there is nothing they can do to improve their lives. And the predominant signal that learned helplessness has set in is contained in the words, I can't. People feel that they can't lose weight, can't get a better job, can't improve or change their relationships, can't increase their incomes, can't upgrade their knowledge and skills, and can't do anything else that they really want to. They have tried unsuccessfully so many times in the past that they have come to conclude automatically that there is nothing that they can do to change the future. The second malady that holds people back is called the comfort zone. Human beings are creatures of habit. They begin doing something and they soon become comfortable with it. After a while, they become extremely reluctant to change what they are doing or the situation they're in even if they're not particularly happy or satisfied with it. They become content, complacent, and eventually they become afraid to change for any reason. They get into a rut, and the longer they stay in it, the deeper it grows, until they finally lose all hope of ever changing or improving their lives. The deadly combination of learned helplessness plus the comfort zone leaves a person feeling trapped and helpless, weak and powerless, unable to take control or to make any real difference in their lives. But the truth is that there are no real limits on what you can accomplish with your life. Within limits, whatever anyone else has done, you can probably do as well. The very fact that you can set a clear goal for yourself means that you probably have the ability to achieve it. In fact, if you think back on it, you'll recall that anything that you ever really wanted long enough and hard enough, you eventually got. You are not helpless, and you are not stuck in a rut or a comfort zone, except by choice. Your true potential is limited only by your own imagination. The two factors that create the feeling of helplessness and of being stuck in a rut are fear and ignorance. Fear is and always has been your greatest enemy. Fear and self-doubt do more to hold you back from dreaming big dreams and accomplishing great things than any other factors. And the less you know about a subject, the more fearful you are of embarking on something new, better, or different. This is why aggressively learning about any area of interest erodes away and reduces your fear to the point where you are ready to take action and make changes. But if you're completely ignorant, if you have not read or learned anything about a subject, it will seem complicated and even overwhelming to you. As a result, you'll be afraid to take the actions necessary to improve your life in that area. The antidotes to fear and ignorance are desire and knowledge. The only real limitation on your abilities is the intensity of your desires. If you really want something badly enough, there are really no limits on what you can achieve. And the more you learn about any subject, the more confident you become to take the necessary steps to make your goals a reality. With desire and knowledge, you eventually replace fear and ignorance with courage and confidence. The more you learn about anything that is important to you, the more courage you have to try, and the more confident you are that you can eventually succeed. And as Henry Ford once said, if you believe you can do a thing or you believe you cannot, in either case you're probably right. So the first breakthrough for me was when I learned that I could learn anything I needed to learn to achieve any goal I could set for myself. The second breakthrough was when I realized that I was completely responsible for myself and everything that happened to me. No one was going to do it for me, and the only limits were the ones I set on myself by my own limited thinking. My third breakthrough was when I learned that all causation is mental. Everything in your material world begins with a thought within your mental world. If you want to change something on the outside, you have to begin by changing it first on the inside. There are 4 powerful mental laws that you need to know. The first is the law of belief. This says that whatever you believe with feeling becomes your reality. If you absolutely believe that you are destined to be a great success, then there is nothing in the world that can stop you from becoming that great success. The biggest job that you have is to change your beliefs on the inside so that they are consistent with the realities you wish to enjoy on the outside. The second law is the law of expectations. This law says that whatever you expect with confidence becomes your own self-fulfilling prophecy. If you expect to be successful, you eventually will be successful. If you expect to be happy and popular, you will be happy and popular. You are continually telling your own fortune by the way you talk about how you think things are going to turn out. Positive, successful, winning individuals have an attitude of positive self-expectancy. They expect to be successful in advance, and they're seldom disappointed. Remember, the very best way to predict the future is to create it. And you create your future by the way you approach everything that happens to you, either positively or negatively. The third law is the law of attraction. This law says that you are a living magnet, and that you attract people and circumstances into your life that harmonize with your dominant thoughts. The more you think about something and the more excited you are about achieving it, the more you will attract it into your life, like a magnet attracts iron filings. You'll attract the people, circumstances, ideas, opportunities, and resources necessary to help you achieve your goals. The final law, which links them all, is the law of correspondence. This law says that your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. It says that wherever you go, there you are. Wherever you look, you see yourself. Your outer world of wealth, work, relationships, and health will always be a reflection of what is going on inside you. These laws of belief, expectations, attraction, and correspondence, taken together, are the keys to your accomplishing wonderful things with your life. When you begin to think big about your dreams and goals, you change your beliefs, you control your expectations, and you activate the law of attraction. You bring about corresponding changes in the world around you. All successful and happy people have a successful, happy mindset. All prosperous and wealthy people have a prosperous and wealthy mindset. All kind, patient, gentle, loving people who enjoy wonderful relationships with their families and friends have kind, patient, loving mindsets. And when you develop the same mindset that is in other successful people, you will enjoy the same results and experiences in the world around you that they do. Since everything you create in your outer world begins with a thought, the bigger dreams you dream, the bigger goals you will achieve. It is said that average people have hopes, but leaders have vision. A vision is a mental picture of the future that you can see clearly before it appears in your reality. Leaders practice back from the future thinking. They project into the future several years, and then they look around them at what it would look like. They take a mental journey 5 or 10 years forward and imagine that they have achieved all of their goals. They then look back to the present like looking from the top of a tall mountain down to where they're actually standing in the valley, and then they look at the path that they would have to take to get to where they want to be in the future. The most important part of dreaming big dreams is for you to define your ideal future vision. It is for you to think about what you really want before you begin to think about what is possible for you. You dream big dreams by looking into the future and imagining that you have no limitations whatsoever on any of your abilities. When you imagine no limitations, you break the psychological chains of learned helplessness and the comfort zone. You rise above your current situation and pretend for a while that you have all the time, all the money, all the people, all the resources, all the education, all the knowledge, all the experience that you could ever possibly want to be or have or do anything that you could dream of.
Remember, anything you can imagine, you can accomplish. As psychologist Abraham Maslow once said, the biggest problem in modern society is men and women selling themselves short.